Today we are going to be making crispy hash browns. This is a part of your tools and equipment unit. So first off, before I even show you how to make crispy hash browns, I'm going to show you the tool that we are featuring today. This is called a cheese grater, and there are different sides to the cheese grater, which I'm going to point out right now. The side you are going to use today is an actual, it's the grating portion of this cheese grater that you are going to use to grate your potatoes today. It's the side with the larger holes on it, which creates for a nice grated look to whatever food you are grating. On the side here, you'll see some smaller holes that are used to grate things like cheeses. It's kind of for a finer grate. And on the opposite side, this is the side you really want to be careful with because they're a little bit sharper. This is to zest things, so when you use lemon zest, lime zest, orange zest in different recipes, it's taking that peel right off of whatever fruit you are working with to create a nice zest. So today we are going to go ahead and start by using the side of the grater used to actually grate the larger pieces of potato. I have already created a bowl of grated potatoes here previous to filming this, but I'm going to go ahead and show you how to grate one of these potatoes so that you know how to do it for your lab. So you're going to go ahead and take this potato. I have already seen here in my ingredients list that these potatoes need to be peeled and grated. So I went ahead and already peeled these potatoes. You know, do this either over a garbage bowl. I would recommend not doing it over a garbage can because I've seen kids do that before, and what happens is their potato falls right into the garbage can and you can't use it anymore, obviously, because the sanitation part has just flown out the window. So we're going to go ahead and start to grate this potato. I'm going to use, again, the side with the large holes, and I'm going to go ahead and do this right over a paper towel, and I'll tell you why in a second. So to grate, go ahead and just hold it from the top, and you can put it down so that you get a firm grasp on both the potato and the grater. And I'm going to go ahead and just push this potato pretty rough, up and down on the holes. Make sure that you have a firm grasp on this potato. If you have flimsy hands, your finger can slide up and down on accident on one of these holes and you can cut yourself. So make sure that you're always paying attention to where your fingers are at in comparison of the grater. Go ahead. You can turn it around if you need to. And there comes a point where you can't really grate anymore because it's become so thin and you don't want to cut yourself. So that's about my point right now, and I'm going to go ahead and throw the extra tiny little piece of potato away. Yep. Okay, go ahead and give it a little tap because you're going to have some grated potatoes on the inside of your grater. And here is a step that you definitely do not want to skip. I'm going to go ahead and pour the rest of my grated potatoes on top of these paper towels. Okay, you might not know it, but potatoes have a lot of water in them, and you do not want any of this water to go into your recipe because then you're not going to get crispy hash browns, and we want crispy hash browns. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is bring this paper towel full of all of my grated potatoes over the garbage can. I'm going to bulk them all together and give it a good squeeze, and you're going to see all this water just pouring right out of there. Look at that water. You want to get all of that out. You do not want that going into your actual hash browns. You're going to wind up with soggy hash browns if you don't follow this step. Got a last squeeze there. And you can bring it right back over to your working area and put them right back into your mixing bowl. Just a quick little something that we wanted to share with you guys here. Some of you might have been looking at these potatoes thinking, why in the world are those pink? And they turn pink because of the moisture content. As you leave them out in the open, they're going to kind of change color a little bit, but do not freak out because that color will kind of fade away once you put them on top of the heat. Okay, we have just finished squeezing out all of the water from our nice hash browns, and we are ready to cook these babies right here. So we're going to go ahead, and we're back. We are ready to go ahead and cook our hash browns. We've just squeezed all of the water out of them, which is obviously, like I said, a very necessary step. I am currently heating up my oil on this induction burner here at about a medium heat. You want to go ahead and heat this oil up until it's about at a shimmering point. What I mean by shimmering is this oil should start to kind of glisten. You don't want it to get to that smoke point where smoke starts to come, away from the oil because that means that it's heating up too much. So as soon as this oil starts to shimmer and look glistening, we are ready to go ahead and add our hash browns, which I think it is about at that point right now. Make sure that while you are putting these hash browns on your frying pan, you do not push them down too hard or splatter them, because that hot oil is going to come up and hit you in the face, and you don't want that to happen. And as you are putting these on your pan, you want to make sure that you spread them out so that they are somewhat of a thin layer. You don't want too thick of a layer, because you're going to have non-cooked hash browns in the middle. So go ahead and spread them out. No more than a half of an inch thick. So we're at about a half of an inch, so we're good to go. Okay, at that point you can go ahead and sprinkle some salt and pepper on top of those hash browns. Your salt and pepper is already pre-measured, so you're going to want to go ahead and you can put the salt and pepper into your hand. You don't want to just clump the whole thing on, so you can go ahead and sprinkle it evenly. There's my kosher salt. And my pepper. Before we go ahead and flip these over, I want to point one thing out in the menu, or in the recipe. Capital T, capital T. Some of you guys might think that that means tablespoon, tablespoon, but it definitely doesn't. That'd be a lot of salt and a lot of pepper. Capital T in this recipe in general means to taste. So salt to taste. If you don't like salt, you don't have to add it. Pepper to taste. If you don't like pepper, you don't have to add it. So it's kind of to your own liking. Okay, these hash browns are just about ready to be flipped here. You can kind of get that spatula underneath, a little portion of it. Lift it up a little bit, and if you can see these hash browns starting to brown a little bit, you can tell that it's starting to cook. They may well be ready to turn over. Okay, all at once I took my large spatula and I just kind of slid that spatula underneath the entire bottom layer of the hash browns, and I gave it one large flip. And as I flipped, I noticed that the one side had cooked to a golden brown. So I'm going to wait another 2 or 3 minutes until the opposite side can cook just as well as the other side did. And as soon as both sides are nice and cooked, you are ready to eat. Okay, our hash browns are now completed, and as you can see, it's got that nice golden brown look to it. You want to make sure that your heat is not up too high. If your heat's too high, that oil is going to start to smoke, and then it's going to in turn burn both sides of your hash browns, and it's also going to give it that kind of nasty grayish color, and it's not actually going to turn golden brown. So you really have to pay attention to how high your heat is during this lab, and not to turn it up too high. But once it looks like this and it's nice golden brown, pretty crispy on the top, it is good and ready to eat.